In this video, we'll go over what's new in macOS Big Sur and whether or not you should update. We'll also be looking at the brand new Apple Silicon Macs with the M1 chip. There's a reason why they call it macOS 11 instead of 10 point something, and that's because they changed a lot of things in this update. There's a new control center, the top toolbar is translucent, same goes for the dock at the bottom, and the apps look different, the app icons. So they kind of look reminiscent to the ones in iOS, but they have like these weird shadows in them, which I personally don't like that much, but they're okay. It's mainly based off of iOS now, and the new iMessage app and a lot of other apps are Catalyst apps, so that means that they've taken it over from iOS and they've simply just optimized it for Mac. So pretty cool stuff. There's also a new notification center, and getting back to those icons, you'll actually notice that the messages and mail apps are different now. So they're the same ones you see on iOS, they're no longer those older versions. And the elements in Control Center, you can actually drag them to the top toolbar. So as you can see, there's a Wi-Fi icon at the top, and that was taken from Control Center, and you can just simply drag and drop them, and you can customize them the way you want. Getting to the notification center, pretty much what you see on iOS, all the widgets and stuff are there, and as apps update them, you can use them just the way you want. So keep those apps updated and you'll get the widgets that you can add to the notification center. Pretty much the same thing that I covered in my iOS 14 video, which you can find in the card above. Safari has a brand new start page, so you can add your photos to it, a privacy report and reading list. And getting to that privacy report, you can see all the trackers that have been prevented from tracking you, and just a lot of good privacy stuff that Apple is adding, and Safari is just one of the things that they've added it to. Apple's also claiming better battery life and performance than the competitors, and there's also a new translation feature, just like what we saw in iOS, where you can translate whole web pages, and you don't even have to install a thing. It just comes with Safari, and it's from Apple, so that's also pretty good. So that's one less extension you're gonna have to download for Safari, which is great. Password monitoring is also in Safari. It'll check your passwords and see if it's been in a data breach and if it's been leaked. That way you'll know that you have to change it and you won't be hacked. iMessage gets an update, so it's much better now. There's all the good features like better group chats, mentioning people, all the good stuff. You can pin specific people to the beginning of your screen at the list, and it's pretty much just like the iOS version now. The Maps application finally has the bicycle and electric vehicle features, so if you want to plan a trip, you can plan it with either of those modes of transportation. If you live in the USA, of course the maps are going to look much better since Apple is making their own, and I'm pretty sure that's coming to Canada and some other countries as well. But yeah, so the Maps update is good, and you also get look around for certain cities, I'm pretty sure, so you can have that like if you're planning a trip, it's pretty good because you actually get to look around in 3D, like you can move around, and similar to what you see in Google Maps. Also indoor maps for malls and airports and other public buildings, so that's also including parking lots, some of them, so you get to see all the little stores or whatever else may be in those buildings, and it's pretty good. So planning your trip on the Mac just got better. When it comes to privacy, Apple has some new features in the App Store, so it'll show you what the developers know about you or might know about you if you install their app, and also the privacy report, as I mentioned before, and yeah, just some privacy tweaks that they've made to macOS, which is good. Apple is claiming that software updates will be much faster because they'll be downloading in the background, so that's good. There's also new AirPods automatic device switching, which is good. Unfortunately, the Macs do not come with spatial audio for AirPods Pro, so that's something to keep in mind. There's new friend playing recommendations in Apple Arcade, so you can see games that are popular, and popular with your Game Center friends, so that's good. There's new achievements, and I am actually surprised that they didn't have this before, but now it's there. You can launch games that you've recently played quickly from the Apple Arcade tab, and there's a new coming soon area in the Apple Arcade area, so you can download them as soon as they're released. And you also get a sneak peek if it's not out yet. If you want a MacBook of any kind that's on Big Sur, then you can have optimized battery charging. So this is similar to what we see for iPhones and AirPods Pro. So it'll pretty much charge it up to like about 80%, and then when you're about to use it, it'll charge up to full to reduce the wear on your battery. There's also new battery usage history, so it'll show you the battery level and usage for the past 24 hours and past 10 days, similar to what we see on iOS and iPadOS. FaceTime will now know if there's somebody that's doing sign language, and it'll always show them in a group FaceTime call. It'll be more prominent, so people that need sign language, it'll be right there for them. On the Home app, there's a new status that shows you all of your accessories and any information that they have, if there's anything that requires your attention, stuff like that. There's new adaptive lighting, so depending on the time of day, it'll change the color of your lights depending on whether or not they're compatible with it. There's new face recognition for video cameras and doorbells, and activity zones. So you can pretty much capture video or receive notifications when motion is detected in those areas. This has been there previously with other cameras, but now it's built into macOS and iOS and stuff like that. So, at least you'll get built-in notifications from the Home app. You don't have to rely on that camera's app anymore. The Music app has a new icon. Well, technically not new because it looks like the one from iOS 7, but anyway, it has a new Listen Now tab, which is great. You can listen to music pretty quickly now. And there's a brand new search, so it's going to be much, much better. It's improved, as they say. So it's going to be much, much better now. You can find your music quicker, and there's new filters as well. The Notes app is so much better now. If you have an iPhone or iPad, you can now scan documents on them, and it will automatically be transferred to your Mac. There's new quick styles for text, kind of like fonts, but they're calling it styles here. And there's new top hits for search, so it's going to be easier to find your notes if you have a lot of them. In terms of the Photos app, there's new memory enhancements. So for the Memories tab, there's better editing, which is going to be great. It's going to be much, much quicker to edit your videos. You don't always have to go to iMovie or Final Cut if you just want to do simple things now. And it's just going to be better navigation in terms of finding your photos, videos, memories, places, and imports. So that's great. In terms of the Podcasts app, we now have a new Listen Now tab, which is similar to the one that we find in the Apple Music app. And the Reminders app now has assigned reminders, so you can share them to other people, and you can assign it to different people, maybe in your family or a friend or whoever it may be. There's also going to be more integration with Siri and Mail for your reminders, and there's going to be new keyboard shortcuts as well, which is great. The Spotlight has better performance, so it's going to be much, much faster, and there's going to be a new streamlined list of results. It's going to be easier to find your stuff, and I really do like what they're doing with the search here. Not only Spotlight, but Notes, Messages, just to name a few. Siri now has web answers, so when you ask Siri a question, it won't be like, here's what I found. Instead, it's going to actually tell you the answer to your question, so great. You may remember from iOS 14 how Voice Memos has enhanced recording. Well, now that's coming to macOS Big Sur, so it's going to have better recording quality. The background noise is going to be much, much reduced, so it's going to be better. In terms of weather, if you use the widget, it'll show you when it's going to be much warmer, colder, or wetter in the next day, so it's going to be more rainy. And there's also going to be a new severe weather areas in the weather app, so it'll display Garmin alerts. So if they issue a weather alert for tornadoes or storms or flash floods or stuff like that, it'll show up in the weather app now. There are also a ton of new wallpapers that you can set. Here's a few of them. It's not all of them, but a few. And most of these do change from light to dark mode, so that's good. Anyway, enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, these are all the new features in macOS Big Sur. Unfortunately, I don't have a Mac to show you all these features, but I will be checking sources to see how well it's going. Of course, with those new Apple Silicon Macs, we don't know how well, application support is going to be, and I actually just want to take a moment to talk about that. In terms of this M1 chip, I'm actually really hyped about it because it's got 8 cores for the CPU and GPU, except for the MacBook Air. It has a 7-core GPU, but still, these are really powerful processors and GPUs. I'm really happy that they're doing this, The MacBook Air has no fan. It's going to be much faster, and the thermals will also be better. So far they have it on the MacBook Air, the 13-inch MacBook Pro, and the Mac Mini. They don't have it on a 16-inch MacBook Pro or an iMac yet, but that'll probably come next year. And yeah, so you guys can watch that November 2020 event, but it was really short, to be honest with you. Like, they're making these events much shorter, but it's probably because they're making more of these now. We've been having it every month now for the past 3 months or so. Yeah. Anyways, this M1 chip, we're just gonna have to see. And in my opinion, I would not buy an M1 chip computer until probably around next month or so, because you gotta see if it's actually worth it to buy one, right? Apple is still going to support these Intel Macs, so even if you buy one, you're not going to be screwed. You're still going to get software updates, right? So there's also that Universal 2, which is going to be, if you make an Apple Silicon app, it'll still be compatible with Intel computers, and Rosetta 2, which translates Intel or x86 programs to work with Apple Silicon. However, that does require the program to be compatible with Big Sur. So there's programs from Steinberg like Cubase and other companies that are not ready for this yet. And so if you want to use those, you're gonna have to wait a while, and which is why I'm saying wait just like maybe a month or two to get these new computers. We don't know what's wrong with them yet. We don't know all their pros and cons yet because nobody really has their hands on it yet. But yeah, performance and everything, it's great, honestly, and I think this is gonna make Intel really up their game now, because now they have a competitor. Not only is it AMD and Microsoft's ARM, but now they've also got Apple. So yeah, we're just gonna have to see. And that brings us to the next question: should you buy an Intel Mac now that they've released these, or not released, but like they've announced these M1 computers? Yes, you should. As long as it's still supportive Big Sur, I think you're gonna be fine. Intel Macs will still get updates, as I mentioned before, and they're still gonna be good, and program support will also still be there, so that's good, and they'll still have most of the same features as the Apple Silicon ones do in terms of software. Anyways, in terms of Big Sur, should you update to Big Sur? Once again, I'm gonna tell you to wait, but maybe not until next month, maybe just a few weeks to see what's going on with it. Check Reddit, check other places on YouTube, and just check it out. See if everything that you use is working fine. If there's a specific program, do your research, and if all is good, then update. Honestly, I think Apple's been on a roll with iOS 14 and this macOS Big Sur. It has been much more fluid, not as buggy as iOS 13 or iOS 11. So even if you update, it's not really that big of a deal. But you might have to be patient when it comes to program support. And that pretty much wraps things up for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.